Uh, John and Jennifer, thank you guys for joining me here today. You guys just went through my Fair Play 101 program that started about 2.5 months ago. We went through the Fair Play book. We started implementing the Fair Play method. Tell me a little bit about what kind of changes you guys have started seeing in between you two and how you talk about domestic labor and mental load in your home. Either of you can go first.
I'll go first. Um, for us, like as a couple, I feel like it gave us like a script to start to follow. Um, because in the past we didn't really know where to start. So we had like an outline and we followed the steps along, which then gave us this opportunity to like communicate about things like with connection instead of what I feel like was happening in the past, just driving a bigger wedge between us. And it was pretty clear of like, you start here with this weekly meeting and you go over some things and then you progress through there of like, just things like things you want to tackle, like the minimum standard of care, and then have a conversation about what that looks like for either one of you. And we've never done that before. And we didn't really know where to start. So I feel like we really have been able to connect and see the other person's point of view, which has been really powerful for me and for John from what he says. So it's really helped me.
John?
For me, the biggest things I took away from the class was, just developing a system, a new system, with the boring meeting, talking about schedule, creating bullet points, things that frustrate you during the week, or when you get upset about something, maybe not addressing it in the moment when both parties are heated, and and then you can bring it up in the boring meeting a few days past, so you guys are in a much calmer place. um it's a more productive conversation that Jen and I have than in the moment. And you're not suppressing what's going on. You're just taking a moment to reflect and calm down, and then addressing it at a later date. So that's been huge for me in the relationship. And then just learning, helping out with the mental load of things with the household stuff, playing the cards. And, it's not, you're you're just helping with that aspect of helping more around the house, and carrying through with what you say you're going to do keeps you kind of more accountable. Um, and so that's been really helpful for me and as a couple, with Jen. So I look forward to, you know, to constantly using these tools to better our relationship, communication wise, household wise, and um, just to make it a more positive household.
Uh,
So that's kind of what I've taken away.
One thing I noticed in your speaking that I would be a bad coach if I didn't call this out, which I think it's just I think something that we've been taught by society. You use the word helping uh, a couple times in there, and a huge part of what we're working on is improving even the way that we talk about things, because you can't help something that you're an equal contributor to necessarily. So I think sharing the domestic labor, sharing the mental load in a more equitable way is some of the language we're even working on, but I appreciate you being coachable in this moment. Um,
Yeah. Yep.
Jennifer, I know that one of the things that you said was even the other day, like it was a moment of realizing that you two were not on the same page, and that I had asked, like, was it historically it just felt like he was wrong, and now it just feels like you're not on the same page? Could you elaborate a little bit on like what you'd shared earlier there?
Yeah, so I feel like I just didn't understand like where John was coming from, and he clearly didn't understand where I was coming from. So I feel like it gave us the tools to see the other person's side and to not think, John's just wrong because he's not doing it the way I wanted it done. And then for me to kind of manage my frustration level when he had a different idea, or he's going about it differently, or he may not be ready to do something that I'm ready to do. So yeah, I feel like it's given me that time to pause and be like, all right, bring we'll bring that up another time, and we're just gonna focus on something different for right now. Yeah.
Thank you. And John, I know that you had said that a huge value there was kind of the accountability for showing up for a group of people that you wanted to keep working, wanted to keep improving. What is it? I think I I speak from coming from a similar place. I think I need a lot of accountability, and when I want to make change, I look for where I can hold myself accountable. What kind of difference do you think it's made in your day-to-day actions by having like a weekly meeting for you to improve in the way that you want to?
I mean, for me, having that accountability that I got to show up to a meeting with Jen and just expressing where we are um that week, for we've got setbacks or things that are hard for us, we can go to the group and talk about it and just get it out and then listen to other people's perspectives. Um, I know for me it was hard with the beginning scheduling the boring meeting because I'm creating a new habit, and I came to the group and said, listen, I did a poor job again developing this habit. And then towards the middle and the end, making that shift and making it a priority and seeing the how meaningful that boring meeting can be, just starting out talking about the schedule. Um, and then things, you taught us to, when things happen during the week, just write it down as a bullet point. And those are things that you can bring up in the boring meetings. So then you're addressing more issues that maybe you want to address um, before. And then each week you can go to the group and, it, there was a lot of shame for me not doing a good job with the board meeting. And then towards the end, making it a habit, it created joy and I could
Mm.
share that to the group. Um, so it was like both sides of the spectrum there. And I don't think if we weren't meeting as a group or a weekly meeting, I would have learned those things or read the book. Just, making learning from that process. And it's worked for other people, so why can't it work for us? You
Mm.
know.
Well, thank you too for sharing this with me. Are there any other things you'd want to leave with sharing to someone that's looking at the program or considering joining?
I would like to say about you, Zach, I think you do a great job of holding people accountable in a gentle, like loving way when it's needed, and then allowing people to like continue to either make their mistakes or come back to the meeting and be like, okay, didn't work this week, but we're gonna, why don't we try this? You have so many like alternative ideas and yeah, the level of just accountability you have. I think you've created a great space for couples to come and do something different, and it's really worked for us because there's been nothing else that's helped us like connect and work together as a team that hasn't ended up in like a more heated argument than we started with. So it's been great, and we're really excited to like continue to see where this leads.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I didn't think that Fair Play 101 was going to deliver those kind of results when we first launched it, so that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, and just reading the book without the group the experience would have been completely different.
Mm.
The level of accountability, the other couples, your input, yeah, it's invaluable for us. Like we just, yeah, it's changed our relationship a lot in a short period of time.
Wow.
So we're very grateful.
So glad to hear it. Um, well, thank you too again for for sharing this with, people that are